Hey guys, welcome to today's video. So on this video, I'm going to speak about growth options in the long term. Now I'm stressing on the word long term because many of you give me problem statements like that I want to invest money, but I want to grow it really fast. Now that is short-term investing. That's like 2 to 3 years, right? But in the long term, there are certain assets which are likely to grow really fast. So I'm going to comment as per my understanding on these assets. Many of these assets I'm aggregating. So I'll give you a detailed overview. I will speak about gold, Bitcoin, some of the US stocks, some of the Indian stocks. I'll give you like a holistic viewpoint. So two requests. One is that almost 85% of viewers on this channel do not subscribe to the channel. So please subscribe so that you can get the notification of the next series of videos that I'm making. It will make your learning process more holistic. Second key point is that please watch this video till the very end. I will try to give you a 360-degree viewpoint in a no-nonsensical, practical fashion. I myself put a lot of my money. This is my fund. It's outperforming NASDAQ. It outperforms 99.99% mutual funds. It's going really well. Why? Because I'm doing something called as growth investing, what I will try to give you a flavor of on this video. So let's begin. And the first key asset, which I feel is going to do well, is Bitcoin. Now, people are saying that Bitcoin is going to hit $1 million in the next 10 odd years. Is that possible? The short answer is a yes. There are fundamental reasons behind it. All I would request you is that please keep an open mind for the next couple of minutes, right? So here's a very quick story. So this snippet is by a Harvard economist. He said that Bitcoin is likely to go to $100 rather than 100,000 US dollars. He gave this statement somewhere in 2018 or 2019. And now it's 2025 and Bitcoin has already breached 120,000 US dollars. So abhi right now it's trading at 120,000 US dollar, right? So it has definitely breached 100,000 USD. By 2035, the expectation is that it can breach $1 million. Now, let's understand why this can happen, right? And should you or should you not invest in Bitcoin, right? Now, I'll give you like a very simple analysis here. See, the price of any asset goes up or down because of the supply and demand curve. So supply curve is drawn this way and demand curve is drawn this way. And wherever these 2 points intersects, right, that becomes the price of an asset. So right now the price of Bitcoin is 120,000 US dollars. Now the expectation is that the supply of Bitcoin will come down and demand of Bitcoin will dramatically go up. Is this happening? Is this not happening? Now, because all of us can have the viewpoint, you know what, Bitcoin does not have any fundamental value. Bitcoin is like, lazy money. Bitcoin is like terrorism money, this, that stuff. Guys, those are opinions, okay? I can have my opinion, you can have your opinion. It does not matter at all. What matters is that are you actually looking at fundamental story? So let me quickly help you understand. See, is supply of Bitcoin going down? Yes. Why? Because the fourth halving cycle is done. And what it simply means is that, see, Bitcoin's supply is fixed. There are 21 million Bitcoins. And the last Bitcoin will be mined somewhere in 2040. But guess what? We are in 2025 and 20 million Bitcoins have already been mined, right? So in 2025. In simple words, very few Bitcoins are left. So the rate at which the supply of Bitcoin will go up, it is slowing down. Is this a fact? 100%. Okay. So this supply curve is not going to move rightwards much. Okay. Now what about demand? Because demand is what will create a price increase in Bitcoin. So what's happening to demand? And there are two things that you should know. One is that sovereign wealth funds. Now what is the meaning of sovereign wealth funds? These are funds that are run by the governments. For example, Abu Dhabi government, Singapore government, they all have like their own funds. These are called as sovereign wealth funds. So many sovereign wealth funds are aggregating or buying Bitcoin. Okay, so massive demand is coming from sovereign wealth funds. Now here are some sovereign wealth funds that are buying Bitcoin. Now because of which the demand of Bitcoin will go up. Now the interesting bit is that very few countries, there are approximately more than 190 countries in the world. Handful of countries, maybe around 30-35, have added Bitcoin to their treasury, so to say, okay, or their sovereign wealth funds. Now, with time, as countries like US increase their Bitcoin holding, more countries will follow. Now, some of you would say that, okay, you know what, why is it that, US will continue to add more Bitcoin? See, that's speculative. But the point is that they have already added Bitcoin, right? Now, it's very difficult to delete Bitcoin from their treasury. It is like saying that you have added gold. Now the government has decided to add gold, and after 5 years they will say that no, we'll sell like all gold because we don't trust gold. So no, that story is over. Sovereign wealth funds are adding it. Governments are trusting Bitcoin. That is where the first layer of demand is going to be pushed. Okay. Second layer of demand is going to be pushed from corporates, right? Or more importantly, listed corporations putting Bitcoin on their balance sheet. A classic case study is of a company called as MSTR or MicroStrategy, right? Now this is run by Michael Saylor, right? And he is a big proponent or face of Bitcoin these days. What his company has done is that he runs a company called as MicroStrategy. MicroStrategy has a balance sheet. Now on that balance sheet, there are assets. And for example, many companies, they have something called as cash as asset. They have real estate as asset. They have other listed things as asset. They have bonds as asset. So MicroStrategy, what it has decided to do is, or what it decided to do was that it decided to add BTC on their balance sheet. Now with time, the value of BTC went up. And as a result, a lot of corporations started to look at Bitcoin as a part of their balance sheet. Because in a corporation, what happens is that there are so many companies in the US, right? And all those companies have a board. Now, this board is influenced by its investors. The investors looked at MicroStrategy and they said that, you know what, MicroStrategy is buying Bitcoin. Bitcoin is going up. So why are you guys sitting on cash? Buy Bitcoin with it. So as a result, more than 100 corporations right now have bought Bitcoin and have made Bitcoin as a part of their balance sheet. This is a very important development. It's already happening. So both these triggers are going to push the demand up. And it is being expected and forecasted that the price of Bitcoin will go to $1 million, right? Natural question comes that, you know what, we are sitting here. Bitcoin is like 120,000 US dollars. Should we go and buy today? Because you are saying that in 10 years this will happen. See guys, Bitcoin is a very volatile asset. The volatility is coming down, but the volatility is still very, very high. So if you buy Bitcoin tomorrow in large chunk, and if Bitcoin falls by 30%, you guys will get panicky. So there is a system to buy Bitcoin. I discuss all these things on my NRI, HNI community. I discuss portfolio building. Whatever I'm buying, I show. Whatever trades I'm taking, I speak about it in a holistic manner. So in case you are a serious investor in cryptocurrencies, growth assets, I would highly recommend you to check out my portfolio. It is beating majority of the funds. It is outperforming major indices by a lot. So if you're a serious investor who is deploying more than 10 lakhs of wealth, I would highly encourage you to check it, right? And there are no commissions per se because this is a DIY, do it yourself portfolio. Whatever institutional level research I get my hands on, right, I share it with my community. So you end up inculcating a style of developing and curating a portfolio, right? So definitely highly recommend, please check it out, right? So this was asset number 1, right, which is doing really well. Then comes asset number 2, which is gold, right? Because gold is considered as like physical version of Bitcoin, right? Rather, people used to say that, hey, Bitcoin is like a digital version of gold. I say it the other way. Now, what about gold? Now, is gold a great asset, right? So let's take a look. So, okay, so here is the situation of gold, and gold typically look at on a monthly candle, okay, because it's a less volatile asset, so to say, okay. Now, gold has had a dream run from 2020. So this phase is 2020. From 2020 to now, gold has given a massive rally. So if you consider gold has rallied by 100%. Now, people get very, very excited about gold that, hey, 100% in 5 years, guys. Honestly, that's not... It's good returns, right? But this is an exceptional phase for gold. So this phase, which I'm blocking out, this has been an exceptional phase for gold, right? This is not a norm. This is the most important thing that you need to understand. That if you are chasing gold right now, you're just chasing an exception. Many of you would say that, you know what, many countries like China are buying gold. Many countries like Russia are buying gold. Many countries like US, India are buying gold. So gold will keep on going up like this. No, you have to understand the concept of growth rate, right? Growth rate means that compared to last year, how much is the increase in demand, okay? Now, China and all India and all the other countries started buying gold here. Therefore, this phase has already accelerated. Now you are chasing a running bus, right? I don't know whether mean reversion of gold will happen, that whether it will mellow down or not mellow down. But typically speaking, gold grows at 4 to 7%, right? So this has been the growth rate or historic growth rate of gold if you analyze different phases. In the last 5 years, gold has grown at 100%. So on an average, it has gone up by 20%. Now, maybe it will not revert to its mean price of 4 to 7%. Maybe it will revert to 10. then also the growth rate will be slow, right? So it has to kind of go sideways, right? I mean, that's the best case scenario that looks on gold. So on a 5 to 10 year basis, I don't think gold is a great asset. So I am not adding any gold, right? But please remember that I am buying Bitcoin, right? I have already added a lot of Bitcoin. I am buying real estate. I have already added a lot of real estate. So I'm doing all those things, because some of you would say that, you know what, okay, you missed out on gold rally, this, that. No, I did not miss out on any gold rally. I was still buying Bitcoin, and Bitcoin has given better returns than gold, even in the last 5 years, okay? So this is point 2. Third asset that I will speak about is semiconductor stocks, right? And let's pick a case study. So this is Nvidia stock. If you take a look, again, massive rally. If you consider Nvidia from, let's say, 2020, let me just draw it for you. This has given almost like 2400% run up. Okay, so gold kuch nahi lagta iske samne. So a natural question comes that, hey, should I buy like Nvidia here, right? Nvidia here for the next 5 to 10 years? The short answer is a yes. Now you'll say that, Akshat, you have gone mad, right? You are suggesting that you should buy Nvidia here. No, there is a system with which you will build Nvidia, but let me first present some fundamental information for you. See, here is the growth rate for Nvidia. What you would notice is that between 2016, and we will study Nvidia stock on a block of 5-year basis. So this phase, if you just go and study the growth rate, right, this was 38%, this was 40, 20, minus 6, 52, okay? If you aggregate this will come out to be like what, 30-35%, right? Now, Nvidia was a smaller company in this phase between 2016 to 2020. Its market cap improved, right? So it became a bigger monster, right? In these years from 2021 to 2025. Now still look at the growth rate. Okay. So here, if you total all this, divide by 5, it will come out to be like whatever 40-odd%, right? The point being that as the company is growing from smaller to bigger, it has actually accelerated in terms of its growth rate. This is absolutely crazy because this rarely happens. What it depicts is something called as power laws. Power law means that there will be a handful of companies that will aggregate or take like a lot of business from a bunch of other companies, and they will become like the alpha male, so to say. Okay, so this is what is happening with Nvidia stock. Now, natural question comes that, hey, you know what, 2025, I was too late to buy something like Nvidia. Can I still buy it? Yes and no, right? So yes, in the sense that if you have like a 5 to 10 year basis, then you need to go and study Nvidia's expansion plans. Now, Nvidia's expansion plan means that what type of chips are they going to launch? Who are the major buyers for Nvidia chips? Will they continue to pour in more money in terms of buying Nvidia chips? The short answer to all these 3-4 critical questions is positive for Nvidia, because if you go and study the chip history, what type of chips has Nvidia launched? Here's a quick snippet for this. You will quickly realize that Nvidia has been launching better and better chips/processors. For example, right now we are on H200 chips. Okay, this was somewhere in like 2023, 2024 phase for Nvidia. In 2025, second half, right, they are going to something called as Blackwell chips, right? And in 2026, another chip is planned, right, which let's call it chip X, which will replace, or which would be an advanced version of Blackwell chips. And all these chips are getting sold out, right? For example, there are not enough H200 processors, not enough Blackwell chips, not enough this processor, so to say. Now, why? Because this also needs to be understood that between the year 2025 to 2028 is the phase where data centers in the US will become one of the most prominent or strongest sectors, right? After this, after 2028, 2030, they might mature, who knows? But the entire infrastructure for the data centers is being built right now, right? And the building of this infrastructure will peak by 2028. So is Nvidia a great stock to own right now? Yes. Am I selling Nvidia? No. Even in the short term, I'm not selling Nvidia because it's incredibly tough to re-enter these type of stocks, right? Again, Nvidia is a stock and AMD is a stock that I bought very heavily on dips, right? I'm buying a company called as ASML also. I'm buying more semiconductor stocks. Why? Because of exactly this, that this phase 2025 to 2028 looks very lucrative for semiconductor/AI based company. 2026, we might see a little bit of slowdown, right? We have to just, sort of have a little bit of cash positions to sort of manage our portfolio. This looks like a slight slowdown, right? This will happen to Nvidia also. You will see some dips maybe. That would be a time to add even more Nvidia, right? So this is my thesis on Nvidia. Is it a great stock to own? 100% yes. Then comes the next asset. Let me talk about an Indian asset, which is Indian IT stocks. Now, if you look at Indian IT stocks, it has been a mayhem, right? So for example, this is like 2020, 2021 phase. 4 years gone, right? 0% returns on Indian IT. Okay. Now we are seeing that, TCS firing and, all this stuff. Guys, there are 3-4 good things going for Indian IT, right? Number one point is that these are cash-rich companies. They are not going in debt, right? Unless like infrastructure player, they don't even need to retain their workforce. They can throw them out, right? And they're already throwing them out. Is it harsh? Yes, right? Is there something that will hurt TCS? Probably no. Number 2 point is that the growth has been slow for the last 4 years, right? It's not as if that this growth has slowed down here, okay? Growth has been slow for the last 4 years. Therefore, you're seeing like, so much volatility, so much correction happening in the IT space. So this entire AI thing, right? It's already underway. This impact of AI on IT, that's already underway. Number 3 thing, India understands that it needs to develop its semiconductor industry. It needs to develop data centers. It needs to develop some kind of newer IT products, right? And I am not saying that Indian IT companies will now go and compete with like Nvidia, AMDs or build like foundational AI. They are not in that game. But a lot of vertical AI products will come up. Okay. Vertical AI means, please go and watch this video. I have explained the difference between horizontal and vertical AI, foundational/vertical AI. Vertical AI would have very specific use case. For example, Perplexity might turn out to be a vertical AI, right? It might go into finance, right? And it might create like a Bloomberg-like terminal, right? So it has a very specific product use case. Now, Indian IT can help you with that. Okay, tech stack we'll buy from the US, right? Very similar to how UAE is purchasing. And Indian IT will play a critical role in terms of evolving that. So this is something that I'm getting more and more conviction on. Am I buying IT very heavily? No, it's slow aggregation for me. I'm not buying too many Indian stocks for the last 6-8 months. I have been saying it quite consistently on my channel that in India, it's very hard to figure out growth, where the next layer of growth will come from. So I'm not buying it very aggressively. But Indian IT has a role to play. It's not going to go to zero. Okay, so TCS and all these companies will revamp. For example, you have a lot of EVs. So software is there, right? I mean, uska jo management hota and bunch of other different things that goes with it would be powered by IT companies, right? Similarly, you will have medical tech players. Now, on that, the maintenance contract has to be given to someone. So all these companies are like labor management, right, in a way, or intelligent labor management. That's the crude way of putting it. This is where we are going, right? So this is my understanding of Indian IT. Next come real estate, right? Now, real estate has been spoken about a lot. A lot of people started making fun of me, Goa doob gaya and, no tourists are there, this, that stuff. Guys, all my properties are bought in South Goa. Please go and revisit my videos. Every single property has gone up dramatically, right? After the crash of Airbnbs in North Goa, right? That's all I'll say. I don't have like, much, defense to put. My properties are fine, nothing wrong with them. They are doing very well. I have not been speaking too much about Goa real estate simply because of the fact that there is a lot of negativity unnecessarily. So I've stopped speaking too much about real estate and all that stuff. And I'm very much buying a lot of real estate still. Okay. Now, why am I buying real estate, right? That's the most important bit. See, what's happening in India is that USD depreciates, right? USD depreciates compared to inflation. Right? That inflation is going up, therefore USD is appreciating. Now, interestingly, INR depreciates in comparison to USD. A funny joke, right? That, okay, people keep on getting worried about, there is like, US debt bubble that is there and, currency devaluation is happening in the US and de-dollarization is happening. You keep on hearing about the word de-dollarization, but it is the INR that actually depreciates more, which is kind of funny, right? And sad at the same time, because this actually hurts you a lot. The only way to protect this is that you go and buy hard assets, right? Now, hard assets could be something like gold, right? Hard assets is you buy physical silver. You buy something like BTC, right? But buying BTC in India is a nightmare, right? So I'm putting a link in the description comment box of CoinDCX, which is the largest trading platform. Most of the exchange volume on crypto is done via them. They are very regulated, or the most regulated platform in India. So in case you are considering buy Bitcoin, you can check them out. Then you have real estate. So these are your effectively 3-4 options in which you can put money. This kind of helps you in terms of protecting your INR depreciation to an extent, right? That's the only play, right? Because if you keep on holding just cash in FDs or bonds, the growth rate is very, very dismal. That's what I would say. So in case you are picking a lesser risky option, buying something like a land or a villa in a gated society, that's probably the best way of doing it. I would not recommend flats, right? It helps you solve that INR depreciation problem. In the next 10 years, you are likely to see a bigger price jump on real estate. Okay, so this is where we'll stop. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, do press the like button and I'll see you soon.